I'll just build on what actually Arjen started. I'm representing like a global company, hyperscaler, platform provider. A lot of great partners also sitting in customers here. But also, I would like to remind you on something which Mr. Leta said. He was talking about how we are creating this fifth freedom, right? He was talking about knowledge-based economies, knowledge capital, which Europe wants to liberate. And it kind of also leads me into what we are doing when you're thinking about how do we implement these new technologies and what do we do with them, right? And so I do believe that there will be a fifth industrial revolution coming in full speed. That would be based on AI and anything that we are together building on this one. And there is a big question on how Europe is going to play in that area. Now, there are a lot of people who would say, well, we are a little bit late. Europe, US is doing this, Asia is doing that. But I would also, I would like to say that some of the competition that European Union countries see are not really coming from that space, right? I mean, there are like a new countries, smaller countries, which are investing way much more and growing more. Middle East, for example, right? And they are trying not just to catch up, they want to lead, right? So there was a slide where there was a presentation on how much Germany is investing in AI. And I think it was like 400 or 4 billion. And you know, funny enough, I cannot remember, but it's irrelevant because 4 billion is not enough, right? When you compare that to Saudi, which is investing 400 billion to actually create a brand new economy, brand new industry and everything around this one. So no wonder our companies are selling in Qatar and all these countries over there, right? So I think very important for the future economies or digital economy in this term is going to be like, how do we find individually as countries ourselves in this global market and where do we compete and what we are fighting for? And when you think about the investments, I think 50% of the VC investments today are going into the AI. So it's a massive investment. Someone could say maybe it's a bubble, but what if it isn't, right? What if we are creating this fifth industry revolution with this one? And then how all these countries are going to play in that space. And when you think about the investments that the countries are looking for, I know that for a fact, AI-enabled data center is anywhere between $1.5 to $15 billion investment, right? So it just generates a lot of questions, a lot of opportunities, a lot of things which needs to be solved. But I think it's going to, if we take this positively, locally, regionally, but also globally, I think globally through the partnerships is very important. It could enable us a different type of growth. And everybody's talking about this one, right? So if we cannot grow in the way how we used to grow, obviously we need to look at something new. And I think that anything related to the technology is now on a completely different level of and speed of execution, investments, and outputs at the end. So it will take probably way much more longer time than we used to have today. But every single country individually needs to create, I think, a good plan on how they want to position themselves in European Union new economy, but also how they are going to ignore that in a way and play on the global level in the first place, right? That's the necessity of speed of execution, which is happening around ourselves. And unfortunately for us, for Europeans, we are not well known as, you know, fast execution guys, right? That was mentioned on Roland Berger's slide also, I think, you know, like where the growth is happening and where this is innovation and so forth. And money is not an issue. I think that was also on one of the discussions, right? Everybody's saying like, well, you know, we can find money. Money can be printed at the end, right? Debt thing. But the question is how we are going to spend it and what is going to be the output at the end, right? And that's a long-term question for the European Union, I think, not just related to the digital in the first place. So thank you.